There are certain mirrors that help me see myself in a very stark and confrontive way. And there are some mirrors that help me develop more compassion towards myself. One of the mirrors in my life have been the context around trauma. And I wanted to let you know of a mirror that have helped me to find a looser grip of control and judgment around some of the symptoms that I struggle with due to my traumatic background. So what is trauma? To start with, in very simple way, you can see trauma happen when we are alone with too much. So when we're alone with too much, we tear. They're of the trauma. And when we are with too much, the tear is called dissociation. We disassociate with the pain that we are in. And if we don't have an environment in which we can come and say how that hurt and be helped to understand what happened so we can put it behind us, then whatever we ripped away from is still living within us. Like the trauma continues to live in the body, and it becomes part of the whole warning system that flares up and triggers us when a similar situation shows up in which we were traumatized in. So for example, if you have a relational trauma, intimacy, connection, closeness is really fucking uncomfortable and you want out of it. For example. So, what are those symptoms? What is it that we disassociate from? You see trauma here. Boom! Trauma. I'm going to read this because these are some really awful yet mirroring symptoms for some of us. We have here depression, irritability, loss of interest, numbing, decreased concentration, insomnia, emotional overwhelm, loss of a sense of the future, hopelessness, shame and worthlessness, little or no memories, nightmares, flashbacks, hypervigilance, mistrust, generalized anxiety, panic attacks, chronic pain, headaches, substance abuse, eating disorders, etc., etc., feeling unreal, out of body, self-destructive behaviors, loss of a sense of who I am. And at the bottom here, trauma survivors have symptoms instead of memories because we weren't able to put them behind us. So we're living in a dissociated state from others and from ourselves, and this void feels like fucking hell. So what do? We find ways to deal with this. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that addictions might spring out of an attempt to desperately cope with all of those symptoms? That for one moment, masturbation or alcohol or sex or food gave us some relief of some sort? Can you imagine that you did it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times until that pattern exaggerated to the point where it began to create more pain? Well, then you have an addiction. You have an additional problem. So you see, like, trauma is a cause of a lot of human suffering and compulsive, obsessive behaviors. So what do I want to say with this? I want to say, in seeing it this clearly, it made me realize, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I have symptoms just like everybody else who've been torn apart because they were alone with too much. Okay, great. But how do I deal with this? How do I, in some sense, put myself back together? Because this is a piece of shit and I don't want to be that. I want to rather be somebody else. So how do we safely get embodied? That's the whole journey of us trauma survivors. How do we safely begin to meet what we've been running away from through all kinds of behaviors and dissociations our entire lives? How do we do this? How do we become home, become holy as men and women, stopping to run away from ourselves, our past, which doesn't work, because the past we reenact it in the present moment anyhow, through how the brain is designed to warn us of past fears in the present moment and make us think they're real. How do we do that? Well, first we need to have an idea of what the fuck is happening. And this is an idea of what the fuck is happening that has helped me and many of my clients. They feel a relief of I've done all of that. So how do we do this? How do we do this? I'll tell you, but not right now. The first thing is awareness. Awareness precedes change. So just being aware of these as symptoms of trauma, that is giving me just enough of working space. Instead of thinking, oh, it's something wrong with me because I'm depressed, I'm worthless again. I need to take away this feeling in whatever I can do right now. I can see it as, oh, this is a trauma symptoms. This is the past catching up with me. Oh, past catching up with me. Maybe it has a message for me. Maybe there's something I can actually understand, and maybe I'm the one who can update this nervous system that keeps living in the past. Maybe I can wake up with this awareness. Maybe I can actually open my body. Maybe I can find practices. Maybe I can find friends. Maybe I can learn how to be together with others with just enough. Listen, can you learn how to be together with just enough, which is the opposite of being alone with too much? Can we learn to be together with just enough? That's why many of us began to go to therapy, because we want to learn how to be together with our pain. Okay? So we learn to self-regulate. We learn to co-regulate. So you listening to this, maybe you feel irritated, frustrated, ashamed. Maybe you feel touched. Maybe you feel, oh my God, there is a solution. Or you might think, he's so full of himself. He can't fucking stop talking. And it's true. I'm that too. And I also have a heart that want to share what has helped me with you. So I'm everything you think I am, bad and good, and I'm also just a reflection of you. I have a hard time stopping right now because I'm in the middle of something passionate, and I'm going to stop right now, just hoping that this was informational, might be inspirational, might make you want to do something different. Maybe meet one of those symptoms, take them out for a cup of tea and ask them, depression, what's your story? Because when we have 10% of a space between whatever was sitting on our face as a big wet cloth, we can actually have a dialogue with it, and then we can have a dialogue, and in this dialogue with it and one another, we are together with just enough. Mirror, mirror on the wall. mm, 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 mm.